Hello everyone, this is Ritu Saxena, your science teacher. You must be wondering how many science teachers are there? Well, there are many science teachers and I am one of them. You must be wondering what is going on, and I think that you must by now have become accustomed of this online classes and you must be learning. Learning matters a lot. Learning matters a lot. Matters a lot. So you matter and you are matter. Matter. What's the matter? What is matter? Matter can be a huge building. Matter is a tiny ant. Matter is that coronavirus. So matter I am going to take up in today's class. So let's discuss about matter. Matter that occupies space and has some volume. This is matter. Let's see the slides and try to understand what matter is. Before I proceed with the chapter, that is nature of matter, I want to do some activity to make you understand about the matter. Matter can be solid, liquid and gas. Solid, liquid, you can see this is liquid. Well, there is one difference, that solid, it is not flowing, whereas when I'll drop the water, it will flow. Why it will flow? Because its particles are loosely held together, whereas in solid the particles are tightly held. Solid, liquid, and what about the gases? Gases. This is incense stick, and if I'll burn it, you can see the gas and its behavior. I hope I would be able to show you how the gaseous materials, how the gas, can you see it? Yes, you can see the gas, the fragrance of this stick, incense stick. The fragrance of this incense stick can be smelled to that corner of the room also. Why? Because this is gaseous form and its particles are loosely held, free to move anywhere. We talk about solid, liquid and this gas. Next is man-made and natural. Man-made, the things which are made by men, that is synthetic material, artificial material. If we talk of about, let me look at this incense stick. In this there are two things, artificial and man-made. Artificial is this covering. This covering is of cow dung and some smells are, some fragrance are mixed in it. This is bamboo stick, finely cut bamboo stick. This is natural material. This glass, this is artificial, whereas this water, natural. Plastic, artificial, and this salt, natural. Though it has been processed, it can be said that it is processed, it is mixed with iodine, so it is iodized salt. But still, if we talk about salt only, then salt is naturally occurring material. Matchbox, artificial, man-made. Now let's do some activity. Salt and water. Water has the tendency to mix, it has a special characteristic to mix so many materials in it. It's a good solvent. And there are things which are soluble and there are things which is insoluble, like salt and sugar. This salt is soluble. I am mixing the salt, completely mixed, and you can see a clear solution. So it is completely mixed. But how much salt can we add in this? How much salt can we add in this? Just see. There will be a time when no more salt can be added in it. When no extra solute can be soluble in solvent, then it is saturated solution. This is saturated solution. We cannot mix more of the salt in it. It is soluble. It is saturated. Look, now we are unable to, it has become white and we are unable to add more of the salt and make the clear solution. So it is saturated solution. Salt is still visible. And there are insoluble material like oil, like rice, wheat. We cannot dissolve it in the water. Next thing that we can do, a simple thing, that is floating and sinking. Floating and sinking, when we use a tiny bit of paper on the water, tiny bit of paper on the water, it will float. Just see, it is floating. Can you observe? It is floating. Why it is floating? We will discuss soon enough. This is coin. See what happens. It sank. Two things, floating and sinking. Why the coin sank and why the piece of paper is still floating? Because of its density. Density of the coin is more than the water, and this density of this paper is less than the water. Similarly, we can do the experiment with the ice. Ice. This is ice. What happens? What do you think? It will sink or float? Sink or float? It will sink or float? Sank. Oh no, it's floating. Why it is floating? Because the density of the ice is less than the density of water. Came to know when an object sink when its density is less, and when its density is less, it will float, and when its density is more, it will sink, just like the coin. One thing, now you see this. This is opaque solution. A matter can be transparent, like I can see through it. I can see from this glass. When I am able to, when the light is able to pass through it, then it is transparent. Transparent. When it is partially, when the passage of light is partial, then it is translucent. Translucent. And when light doesn't penetrate, when light doesn't penetrate, it blocks the light, then this is opaque. You cannot see the light passing through it. So these three things about nature of matter is transparent, translucent and opaque, sinking and floating. There you can see it is mustard oil. Mustard oil, where what will happen? What do you think? If I pour some mustard oil in water, what will happen? What do you think? It will sink or float? Let's see. Let's see. Oops. Just see how it is happening. Lovely. It is. The oil is floating on the water. It is not mixing in it. It is immiscible liquid. The density of the mustard oil is less than, because it is floating. Definitely, just we have discussed that when an object floats on the surface, its density must be less. It means the density of the oil is less than the water. What about dissolution? Let's do another activity with this only. This is ujala that we put in white clothes to make it whiter. Indigo, Neil, jisko hum that we call. Now see what happens. Just see it, the beauty. What is happening? I am not touching it. I am not doing anything with this ujala. But you can see it is mixing of its own. It is mixing of its own. What do we call it? This thing. This is, rightly said, dissolution. When liquid mixes of its own, then it is called dissolution. So now onwards, after this, I hope I have covered few activities that you might like it, and try to find out other such activity that you can do, that you can perform at home. Science is basically about finding, asking question, why it happens, why we are able to chew our food and digest it, why it happens we sweat, why it is that when in summer we feel very hot, while in winters we have to wear that woolen clothes. What is there in the woolen clothes that makes us warm? So science is basically asking questions, why. Let's see the slides.
Hello everyone, this is Ritu Saxena, your science teacher for today, and we are going to discuss about matter. As you know, everything matters and everything is matter that you see around. And when we discuss in science, everything matters. Matter is anything and everything which occupies space, which has some volume. So, what do you say about air? Air too have some volume and it also occupies space. We are going to discuss soon enough. Look at the picture. This boy, he is having something in his hand and he is blowing bubbles. So how bubbles are made and what is in his hand and what he is doing? He is holding a cup and cup is solid, whereas the thing he is using to blow the balloons is liquid soap, And why the soap is turning into bubble? Because it has air. Matter have different behavior. Different matters have different behavior. Like solid. Solid has a definite shape and it does not flow just like water. And liquid, well, you can see liquid flows and it takes the shape of the container in which it is filled up. So liquid can flow. Why it can flow? Because its particles are loosely held together. And these in gases, the particles are free to move. In liquids, the particles are close together but not as packed as in solids. They cannot be compressed and they are arranged in a random way and move around here and there. So the bonds in a liquid are strong enough to keep the particles close together but weak enough to let them move around each other. And what about the gases? Gases is everywhere and it surrounds us. The air around us is a kind of gas. You know, the oxygen we breathe is a gas. The carbon dioxide we exhale is gas. So the particles in gases are very different from that of solids and liquids. In gases, the particles are far apart from each other and arranged in a random way. The particles also move very quickly in all directions. Gases can fill up any container of any shape and size, and gases can be compressed. See this table? It is a summary of solid, liquid, and gases. How they are arranged, how they are irregular, or how they are random. How they have strongly bond, weak bond, and very loosely bond. And you know that matter exists in three states: solid, liquid, and gas. Also, you know that matter cannot be created or destroyed but can change from one state to another. Just you observe in the conversion of water into ice and into vapor. Now see this diagram and try to relate it the ice the ice cube you see in the fridge. If you remove the heat from the ice cube, it will melt and it will turn into liquid. Whereas when you will add heat into water, like you boil it on the gas stove, it will turn into vapor. Means the heat is given to the liquid to convert it into gas. All the matters can be divided into two categories, that is natural and synthetic. Synthetic means artificial or man-made. Natural materials are that you see in the nature, that is water, trees, flowers, all these are natural, while synthetic materials are those which is made by men. These are few examples of natural material and artificial material. Matter can be lustrous, dull, smooth, rough, soft, hard. These are the properties of matter. Matter can be transparent, and transparent material means which allow light to pass through it, like glass, plain water, etc. Whereas translucent material, by which the light passes partially, and opaque when the object doesn't allow light to pass through it. Diffusion can be defined as the process in which a substance moves of its own, like the gas move of its own. There is another term, solubility. When we mix a sugar or salt in water, it gives a clear solution. That is, this solid sugar is soluble in water. It dissolves completely in water. When we dissolve solute in solution, solute in solvent like sugar in water, and there will be a point when more of the sugar or solute cannot be dissolved. This point is called saturated point. Children, we breathe in air, we take in oxygen. But have you ever thought how fishes survive in water? How aquatic plants do photosynthesis? The two gases of air which dissolve in water are oxygen and carbon dioxide. And because of these dissolved gases, aquatic plants and fishes, aquatic animals can survive. And this is more than enough for today. I have completed the one chapter in one go, but dear children, you need not worry. You take your time and we shall be doing the revision. We will be dividing the chapter in three parts and completing with our own pace. Important is that we should understand and learn the things, the chapter. Any confusion will be resolved. Thank you very much for attention.